Hello, my name is Brennan Testa, and I'll be presenting environmental information for the REAP grant as part of Energy Improvement Matters. So, I'm Brennan Testa. I have a master's of environmental science and am an environmental specialist at Energy Improvement Matters. Each REAP grant, we have to provide environmental information for the USDA to review. It goes into a document that we submit to them. The environmental review is required for each REAP grant application. It's a compilation of environmental information on the project site. It includes multiple maps and documents related to the project site's environment. And examples of this include floodplain maps, endangered species lists, prime farmland maps, and a soil type list. And some important information that we need from each applicant includes ground disturbance, whether there's going to be trenching going on and how deep that trenching is, how long of a distance the trench is going to be. We need to know if there are 50-year-old plus buildings on the project site. We need to know if there's tree cutting. We need to know what kind of trees they are, how big they are, and if they're going to be replaced in some way. Another detail is we need to know if there are above ground and underground storage tanks on the project site. If they're underground storage tanks, we need to know the year that they were installed and the year that they were last certified. We also need to know what is stored in the storage tanks. And we also need to know if your project is going to convert prime farmland or not. The USDA would rather projects not convert any prime farmland, so it's an important detail that goes into our application. And some additional requests after we submit the grant application. One is Tribal Historic Preservation Office communications. This is usually when there's ground disturbance on the project site. We have to reach out to the tribes that are associated with that county where the project is. Another thing we have to do is State Historic Preservation Office communication. This is usually when the project is in or on a potential historic building. This includes buildings that are 50 years or older. Another detail we have to do is environmental reports. This is usually if there's the project's in a floodplain, close to a wetland, just multiple kind of flags that come up after the environmental review, ground disturbance. And then finally, there are also cultural resource surveys that get requested along with environmental reports. This is when there is large ground disturbance on the project site. It's not requested too often, but sometimes the USDA will come and say that an archaeologist will have to be hired to conduct a cultural resource survey, and it could cost a couple $1,000s to perform. But they usually, when they request it, it means your grant is close to the end of winning. And that's basically everything that we do for the environmental review that the USDA requests. So if you apply for a grant, please keep these details in mind, and we may have to reach out again to work through some details for the USDA. Thank you.